Lewis! You costed me the ladder challenge. After our 11 win, 1 loss UFC Fight Night Mexico City performance, we went 7 wins with 5 losses at the UFC Apex. We went from a winning week of 400 plus to a losing week of 200 plus. We can't seem to get it 2 weeks in a row.
Nope.
We're going to do another bounce back with UFC 314 Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes for the featherweight strap. Let's get straight into it. Starting off the night, we have a women's bantamweight fight between Nora Cornolle and Hailey Cowan. Now, in terms of women fights, I have not been the greatest, which is why I'm staying away from this one in particular. In terms of betting, I do see Nora getting it done, but it's risky because she takes risks for finishes. She has only lost to Jacqueline Cavalcante, which you gotta take with a pinch of salt because Jacqueline Cavalcante is a really good fighter. Hailey Cowan has lost to Jamie Lynn Worth, which doesn't look too good in my opinion. She sucks. So I see Nora getting the victory here, but the value is not there, so I'm staying away from this one. Next up, we go to the middleweights where we have Tresean Gore set the face off against Marco Tulio. Marco, he has to worry about that guillotine. Tresean Gore, he has to worry about the rest. I think Marco can dominate the striking, impose his will with the power, and get Tresean Gore out of there. So Marco Tulio to win, no bet because the value is not there. On to the flyweights we go, where we have Mudaerji set the face off against Mitch Raposo. Now, there's a lot of value on this one because I like the side of Mitch Raposo. When I saw he was the underdog, I hit it instantly. Mitch, he's coming off a split decision loss to Andre Lima, but a split decision against a guy like Andre Lima? That is impressive. Mudaerji, he hasn't looked great at the UFC level, losing 3 in a row. I see Mitch Raposo grinding out Mudaerji and getting the victory here. So the pick on the play is going to be Mitch Raposo to get the job done. On to the middleweight division where we have Sedriques Dumas versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. That's probably how you pronounce his name. But I think Michal gets this one done. He has looked great against lower level fighters. Sedriques, not that much. Losing to a guy like Josh Rambuddy, are you serious? But Michal, even in his losses, he hasn't looked terrible. He survived against Shara, which, I mean, I don't really like Shara as a fighter, but he has done well at the UFC level for the most part. He's also done well against Kevin Holland when Kevin Holland was actually trying. Kevin Holland had to take the fight down to the ground, sinking an armbar. Bottom line, guys, Michal is the better fighter. I think he gets the job done. I think if he doesn't finish Sedriques, he's going to put him through hell for the 3-round fight. So Michal to get it done here. On to the featherweights we go, where we have Darren Elkins set the face off against Julian Erosa. Darren Elkins known for absorbing a lot of punishment, sticking in the fight, and pushing to decision victories. Julian Erosa, in my opinion, he's known for that guillotine choke that he got against Christian Rodriguez. That was impressive. This fight is one you should definitely stay away from in terms of betting. I like the favorite in Julian Erosa. I think when Darren Elkins is going for a takedown, he will get caught in one of those mean guillotines and lose by submission. He may not tap, but he may go to sleep. Stay away from it because Darren Elkins, if he can get the takedown, secure top position, I see him being able to grind out a victory, but I still favor Julian Erosa. Next up, we got Chase Hooper set to face off against Jim Miller. I like Chase Hooper in this one. Chase Hooper looks so good against Vyacheslav Borshev. Oh my god, that top pressure, that ground and pound was vicious. Jim Miller, yes, he is a UFC vet. Yes, it's going to be hard to submit him, but he may give up the takedown quite often, and that's where Chase Hooper will capitalize. Chase may work his way to the back, and just hold him there for the majority of the round and squeak out a decision victory if he doesn't get the submission. On to the bantamweight headaches. We have Virna Jandiroba set to face off against Xiaonan, and these names have been so difficult you wouldn't believe how much takes I had to make for this one. But this fight can go one of two ways. Virna is going to be working her way to a takedown, get top position, and finish this fight by submission, or she's going to be unsuccessful in getting the takedowns and get picked apart in the striking by Yan. Now, how I see it going, Virna, she's a girl that walks through punches. She gets hit often, she gets hit hard, but she doesn't get put down. And that's where the problem lies. Yan has got to be able to put her out, and I don't see her being able to do so. I see Virna walking through the shots, looking like really solid shots as well, securing that takedown and getting the finish. Virna to win, no bet on this one. Back to the featherweights we go, where we have Dan 50K Ige set to face off against Sean Woodson. Now, I like the side of Sean Woodson here, placing a bet on Sean Woodson to get the dub as well. Dan's style, it's not ideal for a guy like Sean. He likes to land that right hand and put you out. The problem is, you have to land against Sean Woodson. Now, his head may be massive, but he's hard to hit clean. I see Dan getting frustrated in this one. I see Sean Woodson picking him apart and landing the better shots in the fight and winning by decision. Next up, we got Nikita Krylov set to face off against Dominick Reyes. Now, this fight ain't going to the judges' scorecards. One of these guys is getting finished. It's either Dominick Reyes gets subbed or Nikita Krylov gets put out with the left hand. And I like the value on the underdog here, placing a bet on Dominick Reyes. I think he's going to have a resurgence at the 205 division and just land that shot against Nikita Krylov. Nikita has to work for takedowns. He has to take this fight down to the ground and get that submission. If not, it's going to be a long night for him. And that's how I see this one going. Now on to the featherweights yet again, where we have Yair Rodriguez set to face off against Patricio Pitbull. So much value on the UFC debutant. I think Patricio Pitbull gets this one done here, guys. He's such a high-level fighter, in my opinion. I have no idea why the odds makers favor a guy like Yair this much. Against well-rounded fighters, he has not looked good, in my opinion. Yes, he was able to submit a guy like Josh Emmett, but look what happened when he faced Brian T. City Ortega. Look how easy he got submitted. When he was striking against Volk, he got finished by Volk. Nobody really gets finished by Volk. Not in that fashion. He got absolutely dominated. Patricio, he has power. Yes, he may be old, but he is very, very well-rounded. I see him making a very nice debut, and I'm placing a bet on Patricio Pitbull to get it done. Again, we're back in the flyweight division, where we have Bryce Mitchell set to face off against John Silva. I got John Silva winning by knockout. There's not much ways for Bryce Mitchell to get this one done. He's going to have to close the distance, try to get a takedown and land a submission, but he's not going to be able to get close to a guy like Sean. Sean is going to pick him apart in the striking. Sean is going to stop any takedowns that Bryce throws. It's not like Bryce is this amazing wrestler. He's a very good grappler, but in terms of striking, he got put out very badly against a guy like Josh Emmett. I think Gene Silva puts him out bad, guys. On to the co-main event of the evening, where we have Michael Chandler set to face off against Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And I have been a huge Paddy the Baddy Pimblett hater because of his skill sets. I don't think it's UFC level. I think Michael Chandler walks through him. Michael Chandler is the underdog as well, so I see a lot of value in that. I'm placing a bet on Michael Chandler. The pick is also going to be Michael Chandler. Look how good he looked against Dan Hooker. And look how good Dan Hooker has looked since. Look how bad Paddy Pimblett looked against Jared Gordon. I mean, if Paddy can't get the fight down to the ground, it's going to be a hard night for him. Michael Chandler is supposed to be a very, very talented wrestler and exceptional at keeping fights standing. I don't see him being overwhelmed by a guy like Patty, and if the fight stays standing, Patty keeps his hands way too low and he's gonna get his clock clean. It's also 5 rounds, which favors a guy like Michael Chandler because Patty Pimblett gets tired in fights. So, I'm placing a bet on Michael Chandler. May look like an idiot because the majority of the MMA community, I believe, is backing Patty Pimblett on this one. But I'm going against the grain. And now we're moving on to another featherweight fight. I did not realize how much featherweight fight it had in this card. It's really a featherweight card. But it's the main event. We have Alexander Volkanovski set to face off against Diego Lopes. And this one is going to be a barn burner. Diego Lopes is a fast starter. And he does get tired in fights. But it's the pace he puts on guys. It's very hard to survive in there when you're getting hit as hard as Diego Lopes is going to hit you. Volkanovski finds a way to nullify guys like that and avoid hard shots. Unless you're Islam Makhachev or Ilya Taporia. It's such a tough fight to predict, man. Such a tough fight. Such a fun watch as well. I see Diego Lopez's stamina letting him down in this one. First time fighting for a title as well. I think Volk shines in this one. The pick and the play is going to be Volkanovski to get it done. He just needs to survive the early rounds. If he survives the early onslaught, he can impose his will later on in the fight, use his experience, and get the job done. That's how I see this one going. Now, we're going on to the ladder challenge. Last week, Luis Guru, he let me down, right? But Tim Tszyu won by KO, which is part 1 of the ladder. So now we're on to part 2. And I got 2 fighters on the slate. We have Sean Woodson to get the job done. And Jean, however you pronounce his name, Mr. Silva, I expect him to win by KO. Turning $15 into $50. I'll see you next week for part number 3 with the PFL. Be sure to leave a like, comment, let me know what you think about the picks and the plays. If you disagree with them, let me know why. Let's discuss it in the comments down below. Subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, support the channel on the Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.